Welcome, welcome. This is Gwin, and with me again is Rohans. We are kicking off again that partnership with LZURUHA Gaming that we just started by casting yet another game of Shinya, one of the top Protoss players on LZURUHA Gaming. Jumping right into this game against VTPokebunny, obviously from the team VT. VT sent some guys over to Korea. Did okay over there. Nothing too special, but you know, that type of dedication to gaming, you know, really shows through in how much they are willing to put into their players. Go ahead and take us away with this matchup, Rohans.
Yeah, we did promise you guys more games, and here we are. This is PvT on Xel'Naga Caverns, probably the most popular StarCraft 2 map. We do have VTPokebunny spawning in the top right corner as our Terran user, and down in the bottom left, 7 o'clock position, is our very own Shinya Protoss. This is a pretty standard map. It's kind of got a wide natural, as you know, everyone pretty much knows at this point. So fast expand builds can work here, but I would probably expect to see some double racks, double gate style of play. Pretty safe builds, I would imagine.
Certainly. You know, one thing as we started that I noticed that Shinya did immediately was pair up probes on these 4 close mineral patches, something that Pokebunny did not do. And those are really the marks. You know, taking that time, you're not spending your APM anywhere else. Taking the time to really maximize your mineral income in the first couple minutes of the game can make a huge difference later on.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, looking at the APM chart, it shows Shinya is almost nearing 200 and VT is sitting at around 60, so maybe a slow starter. Maybe he likes to save his APM for when it matters in battles and when it comes to multitasking later. We do have a barracks coming down, or excuse me, completing, and a marine on the way, as well as an orbital command and cyber core going down for our Protoss user.
And I love the gas steal from Shinya, making sure that we aren't going to see any cloaked banshees, you know, quite as quickly. As you might notice, those assimilators from Protoss actually have double the hit points that you know, a normal refinery type building has from either of the other races. So definitely an advantage there in the Protoss camp. Jumping over the production tab, we see, you know, concussive shells on the way, you know, out of that, and a Marauder being trained at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see one of those 1 racks Marauder expands out of VTPokebunny, in which case he really doesn't care that that gas was stolen. It ain't no thing to him.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something that's come up in the community, and nerds raging about it. Protoss gas stealing, and as you can see, one little marine is going to take some time to kill it, and I thought he was going to hide the Marauder, but he goes ahead and exposes the fact that he does have it. So I think Shin's going to expect exactly what you just mentioned with a 1 racks fast expand, and the CC actually does drop down. Concussive shells nearing completion.
Certainly, we do see Warp Gate. Research by Shin has not added any additional gates. We might see a 1 gate expand out of him. You know, he is definitely, you know, definitely in the position to do that, chasing that, you know, VTPokebunny's SCV out with those first 2 units, and probably going to pull back as this 2 Marauder and 1 Marine force. Definitely a force to be reckoned with this early in the game when you only have 1 gate down. But ooh, Shinya opting to throw down 2 more gates. This might be one of those 3-gate pressure builds that is so effective against that 1 racks expand from the Terran player.
Yeah, it really is. You can apply some early pressure and expand behind as well. And economically, you're not too far behind. He does have those 2 gates coming, and Warp Gate is almost finished, so we probably will see quite a few units popping out here very quickly. He is on 2 assimilators, so I would imagine this to be a Sentry, Stalker heavy play, and see if he can poke in there and kind of maybe kill some bunkers and apply some pressure to our Terran user. Second command center, command center is complete, and the orbital is underway, so I would imagine him to float that anytime now. Sitting on 2 racks.
We do see an expand going down from Shinya. Looks like he was banking a little bit of minerals there, expanded, and was cutting probes to get that expansion up, has now resumed probe production as those 2 gates finish, and he warps in 3 sentries. Always good, you know, to warp in those sentries, allow you to control space, and they also free up so many minerals to allow you to do things like expand.
Absolutely. It's pretty basic play so far from both of our players. We do have a factory that is completed, starport's halfway done, and the reactor, so we're going to definitely see some medvacs coming out here in the next couple minutes. And it could be a little timing window for our Terran user to kind of really do some damage. When those medvacs come out on the field, the Terran army definitely changes. So he has actually not lifted his CC yet, so he's really just commanding his high ground and making sure that Protoss can't poke in there and do any damage.
Certainly, and I love this scout SCV taking the long way around, getting all the way in, seeing everything going on, seeing that expansion, seeing the high sentry count of Shinya. You know, definitely a tell that he is not doing anything tech heavy with a lot of gas, seeing all those sentries. So I bet you that Pokebunny is feeling pretty good, as sentries not so effective when you can just lift your units up into medevacs.
Absolutely. Stim is just about to be completed here, so we may see a push out here. He is opting to finally lift that orbital and take it to his natural. In the meantime, we do have the Sentry Heavy Army moving out towards our Terran user. I would expect him to probably drop a pylon maybe a little bit closer than that XLNAGA watchtower over on the left. That's the closest forward pylon he has at the moment.
Ooh, but I think we are going to see the type of push you were describing right as soon as those medevacs pop, and Stim is about to finish. This is a great timing by VTPokebunny, but you know, Shinya sees it all, dropping that pylon at the other watchtower, sees it moving down, and it looks like he is going to try and separate this army and flank it. Great force field, trapping those Marines, more force fields, and he is going to clean up a lot of those Marines, maybe even the entire army here.
Yeah, those are some sick force fields, and I'm not exactly sure why Poke did not stim. I'm not sure if he realized that it actually completed. He's actually going to have to retreat from this expansion. It is exposed, it is vulnerable, he knows it. Dropping down some bunkers on his cliff. He's in a really tough position all of a sudden. Shinya has a huge economic lead with that having to fly and run away, and he might even snipe it. Oh my god, this would be terrible for Pokebunny.
If he snipes his command center, this would definitely be a blow. Look, he's running the mules over, but oh, he isn't going to be able to save it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see another force field on that ramp, keeping forces from getting down. Not going to see anything like, you know, a quick counterattack with all those SCVs as well. The two bunkers do finish, but of course he can refund them for 75% of the cost.
Absolutely, and we actually, this is a good follow-up. He knows he's done some damage, but the Terran ball can be so effective with more medevacs, and he just sits there on one base and pumps out more bio. It can be still devastating to the composition that Shin currently has. So he's actually opted to throw down 2 robotics facilities, not 1, 2. So I'm expecting to see some Colossus poking out of those very quickly, and at that point, I do not see our Terran user sitting on one base having a chance.
Certainly agree. Pokebunny still active with his scouting. You know, this is one of the things that, you know, in watching the Korean players play, they are so good about scouting. And, you know, it really shows when a team sends someone to Korea and they come back with that knowledge and with that drive to say, you know what, guys, scout all the time. This SCV, you know, with this placement is going to cover for this medevac coming in. If any stalkers tried to poach out here to avoid or to see that medevac, they would be seen by that SCV. And you know what, at this point, unloading safe, he's going to run through, probably going to snipe these 2 pylons, which Shinya has great placement on.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you don't want those guys just coming in and picking off some probes. So Zealots are forcing them back as we speak. And we do have 2 observers come out, and one is heading towards the base, and we do have a robotics bay that is almost complete. We actually do have another drop here in the main as well. We might pick off some tech here.
And this is some great drops here, you know, running in the main, you know, stimming and running toward the natural at the same time, and this engagement at the watchtower. This is how you need to play Terran when you are behind, dropping everywhere, keeping the Protoss off balance, you know, picking up and oh, look at this at the natural, coming in, taking out probes. You can target fire. That forge could be very effective as well, but as soon as these stalkers on it, he is just going to take off and run away. And we still see this force at the front, and again, coming in at the back. Looks like Shinya is ready for it. Oh, will he snipe this medevac? That would be huge if he does get that kill. But now coming into the natural, going to unite with those 2 drop ships, create an even bigger force, and this is going pretty well, but the medevac does go down.
Yeah, you know, I really feel that Pokebunny overcommitted to that. He did some good damage. rather than staying in here and losing these units inevitably, I really would have liked him seeing him maybe just lift that command center and expo, because now I feel like, yeah, he did some damage, but he didn't even himself